Oh, by the way, the ARM itself, a few years ago, was not a legal version of a mortgage to sell. And over the period of the last 20, 30 years, the US government has allowed it to be legal and also allowed it to be legal and used as a package up with other stuff. So actually our government, through many regulations, has allowed ARMs to proliferate as it has, and now of course realized that with that deregulation that maybe there was some misbehavior that occurred as a result. So there was a systemic issue. Everybody's getting this, everybody wants to blame a person for this. It's a series of events that caused this, but it's also exasperated because of the interrelationship between ourselves and our neighboring countries who are willing to lend us money or closer. The reason why it's relevant in the international business. None of this is possible if we just did this inside our own country. Because there's no way we can source $1 trillion of cash out of thin air without killing ourselves, financially speaking. Okay? So again, these guys are just the guys who are really good at it. Now they were bought by Bank of America, and I know the problems because my son's hockey teammate on his Junior Sharks team, his mom, who reviewed this presentation a couple weeks ago to make sure it was correct and up to date. She is the director at Bank of America who has to deal with this crap. Excuse my French. So this is not far off. She said you kind of hit it right on the head, so I'll take this as being good. This is just not my opinion. Somebody who's actually in this and fighting this. But again, it's hard. Again, this is a worldwide financial credit market, not the US. We go outside and get credit. People lend us credit because, our economy is still 20% of the world, right? GDP used to be 40, now it's 20. Still a big chunk. We're still growing. We're innovating. We're still a great place to invest in, right? Still are, by the way. And there's some debt that happens, as a percent of GDP. Some of you will look at some of your countries, and for instance, South Korea a few years ago, was it the late 80s, early 90s, had some problems with their debt, called a debt bomb. This is my personal data. If you look at 2010, if you look at the corporate profits, total corporate profits of the United States companies as a percent of the GDP is 11.1%. Total GDP debt as a percentage, it's approximately 85%. So even if you decided that, hey, I want to tax 100% of corporate profits to pay off the debt, not going to happen. Oops. You understand where we are? How deep we're in right now as a country? Now this is what my generation's handing your generation. You should be ticked off. You should be ticked off. I know, you can do as many research as you want, but again, I'm trying to give you a sense for where we are. Oh, here's the U.S. federal government. This is off the Treasury.directgov, $395 billion just in interest we have to pay. Billion. Oh, and 52 cents, because they actually keep it down to the penny because they are the government. Interest. It's not real interest. You can see how it's been through the past. It's not been, look, 96, there's still 343 billion. So this has been going on for a while, guys. This is not an Obama problem. This is not a Bush problem. This is not a Reagan problem. This is a structural problem within our country and how we've been dealing with business for a while. Okay, so don't put a president's name on it. They can't control this very well either. We like them to, sure. We'd like to figure out a way to get better. Again, implications. As you go out in the world, you have to understand where your country is, where other countries are. Look underneath, keep asking the whys. I would suggest being fiscally responsible and working within your budget and not borrowing too much is a very conservative and stable thing. There's certain countries who will only, for instance, I know from friends of mine who will buy houses but only for cash. They do not want to say, I'm going to owe any money. That's the most conservative way possible. Our business has not had that as a mantra, right? Always leverage, borrow money to grow. And when you're growing at 10% a year, you might be able to get away with it. Now that we're growing at 1.5% a year, can you really borrow to grow? Maybe not. So you guys are going to have to figure that answer out. and also pay off all the other stuff that we got going for you guys. So, take a big breath.
47.
What do you think?
Did you take some out? Was 47 slides?
47, something like that, yeah. I might have, yeah. I might have changed some stuff. Some of the stuff is actually over the top.
Can I ask a question on LIBOR? You had a slide, LIBOR is not the same as the federal funds, right? There's a difference.
Yes.
London.
What exactly is the difference? Is it just a comparison thing? It seems to me like there's.
If you look at the London Interbank Overnight Rate versus the U.S. Fed Fund rate, and look at that difference called the spread, if it gets above a percentage, then you're saying it's getting to be risky to loan to that bank. And the idea being is that as a lot of the arms stuff and toxic stuff started hitting the fan in September of 2008, that spread got to 5%. So they're saying, hey, you're going to give me 5 extra percentage points for the risk of you tomorrow not being in existence to pay me back. You understand that point, right? That's a lot of money when you look at historically, it's been 0.1%, right? It's huge. Again, credit markets, debt markets, again, those are the areas that we're not covering in the book, but hopefully give you some standard for. Again, about the same size, at least as of 2004 and 5, 17.5 trillion bucks worth. So don't neglect it as you get into business. Look at your debt sheets, your debt to equity ratios, which is,